I hop onto the 46A bus and head down to Dunleary. Looking for something to listen to, I press play on the soundtrack for what is probably one of my favourite pieces of media, a game called Disco Elysium. As I look out distractedly at passing houses and the track starts picking up, I'm immediately taken back to the game's setting, a rundown district of a city called Revachol. Disco Elysium is a 2019 detective role-playing game by Studio Zaum. You play as Harry Dubois, an alcoholic police officer who awakens from his latest bender with no memory of what he's done, where he's woken up, or who he even is. You, the player, are introduced to the world of the game at the same time as Harry, rendered a tabula rasa from years of substance abuse and self-hate. One of the first things you notice are the literal dozens of voices in your head, providing you with constant feedback and commentary as you interact with the world around you. As the player, you know they are part of the game's rich role-playing system, facets of your personality you can encourage, skills you can pour points into. As Harry, however, these are how you navigate the streets of Revachol, your addictions begging you to indulge in them again, gut feelings about things that have not yet happened, empathy for the people around you. And this is where things get interesting. There is one skill, cryptic and hard to understand. Its name is Shivers, and is accompanied only by the words,
"Raise the hair on your neck, tune into the city."
This particular voice in your head is the very voice of the city whose streets you're traversing. It tells you stories about things that happened on its soil, people who have lived their lives in its structures through short, meaningful sentences. It never overstays its welcome, but once it stopped speaking, its voice still lingers in your head. Shivers is a view and understanding of a city that you can only get through living there, manifesting itself differently through every soul that walks its streets. And Martinez, the district of Revachol you are currently in, has a lot to say. Martinez is deeply scarred, both metaphorically and physically, by the bombs and bullets of Operation Deathblow, a bloody and ruthless crackdown on a short-lived communist revolution. Its streets are forgotten by the coalition of nations that claim to liberate it, law enforcement not even bothering with it. A large building sits abandoned for years, filled with defunct businesses. An apartment complex, run down from years of neglect and coalition bullets, is still hounded down by a letting agency trying to rent it out. A dead body, the one you were sent to investigate, hangs behind the hostel you were staying in. 2 drug-addled children throwing rocks at it to pass the time. And yet, there is a solemn majesty to the way that the sunset hits the scarred pavement every evening, or the way the sea's waves lap at its shore. The beautiful skyline you see from the very first moment you open the game, a skyline that, you realise at the end of your investigation, is the view from the fortified island just off the coast, where you find the killer you were investigating. The full picture of a messy and broken, but deeply beautiful town, for which there is hope yet. A town that is just like you, and just like everyone who lives in it. I moved to Dublin a year ago. At first I didn't get to see much of it. With mostly online college and non-essential activities closed, I wasn't able to start properly exploring until late spring. I've seen a lot since then, and keep finding new spots to see. Dublin is a city that has seen occupation by a foreign empire, civil war, and revolution. You can still see bullet holes in some of the buildings. It is a city made increasingly hard to settle down in due to skyrocketing rent prices, the byproduct of a housing crisis only exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic. Many of my Irish friends make no secret of their desire to move elsewhere as soon as their degree is done. Watching the sun set on Dunleary Harbour, I can hear the same tinny horns heard throughout the streets in Martinez. Like Harry, I'm still learning about this new place I find myself in, learning its streets, its history, trying to figure out my connection to it, listening to other people talk about theirs. This game has something incredible, indescribably powerful to say about cities, how connected they are to the souls of their inhabitants. Every moment of pain and sorrow they've seen, every moment of joy and happiness, they become part of its essence. And just like that, looking out from this lighthouse, a gust of cold wind blows. I shiver a little and tune into the city.